All right, guys, welcome to a new episode of the 1x2 podcast, St. Patty's Day edition. I'm here
Let's go.
with my co-host, my illustrious co-host. We got Nicola in the middle. We got D with the green cup.
St. Patty's Day, let's go.
It's St. Patty's Day, so that's why it's like that.
Yeah, I didn't feel like changing my shirt, so.
So you're gonna have the cup the whole time? Just hold the cup up the whole time, like.
Yeah, so Welcome to episode 6 of the podcast. Pretty sure we'll lose some subscribers if I kept talking like that. So let's not do that. But I'll have it I'll show it occasionally. I'll have it every time I talk. It'll just be up. All right.
Just like this. Just have it right there.
Yeah, just like, let me tell you something, okay? I disagree.
All right, so we're gonna get into this. We're getting into the first topic. So Kawhi was called out some of his Clippers players, saying that the team's play as of recent has been very concerning. And do you guys agree with him? Do you not? Also, what are the Clippers' expectations for this year, Nicola?
I mean, I'm a Kawhi fan. I don't like how I don't like it when players start talking crap about their team, like throwing players under the bus. You're supposed to be the leader of the team, so you need to step up to take some responsibility yourself. Having said that, other motherfuckers need to start stepping up. Like, I love Kawhi. I see what he does on a daily basis on both ends of the floor. He's one of the most efficient players in the league, on top of being one of the most best defenders in the league. I think he's underrated. So, he I guess he's just trying to spark a fire under the team because they've been slipping as of late. They're dropping in the standings. So, I don't like that he called out his team, but I guess he just felt like he needed to release some frustration. And I'm with Kawhi, so I'm not too mad at it. My expectations for the Clippers this year, I don't know. It's wait and see for me. It's wait and see because I think them losing Montrezl Harrell last year was a huge loss. I don't know what they were doing there. I don't know why they didn't re-sign him. And on top of that, they let him go to the Lakers of all teams. Like, good luck with that. So,
right.
Yeah. So it's a wait and see. I think they're like a borderline contender.
Okay.
Would you say is that too low for what they should be, or like what let's say the league has? Is their expectation?
Maybe not the league, but for my personal expectations, definitely. I mean, you have two superstars on your team with a deep roster. Pat Bev, Lou Williams coming off the bench. Again, losing Montrezl Harrell was huge. That's gonna be their biggest hurdle this year. So, yeah.
Yeah.
D?
Yeah. I have to agree with Nicola on this topic. Yeah, as far as Kawhi calling out his team, saying it's very concerning, with being inconsistent and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree. Like, Kawhi, like, at the end of the day, you're part of the team too, right? Even though you are the best player on that team, you still got to take some credibility, for the losses you guys are having. And, but I do at the same time agree with Kawhi how it is concerning. Even though the Clippers are 26-16, which is not too bad, fourth in the West, which is not too bad. But everybody knows them acquiring Kawhi and then getting George Paul, the mindset is championship or bust. It doesn't matter how far you make it to the playoffs. The whole point of getting them was to get over the hump and get the Clippers a championship. And, it's not looking too good right now. Their best chance was, they had a good chance last year, but, it was an upset with the Denver. So nobody was expecting that. So I think that kind of, too, like, really got them off guard, kind of got them thinking like, maybe they're overthinking their plan worse this year. I can see that. They still can't, get over what happened last year. So maybe they still, they're still having that slump. But, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But, yeah, I can see it being, pretty concerning. Back to the point Nicola made, too, with them losing Montrezl Harrell. Like, that's a big loss because he was a guy that came off the bench, was just producing and hustling and doing all the scrappy stuff. And, having someone like that doesn't mind come off the bench and still producing like that is huge for your team. So I think that was a huge loss. And even though they did get Ibaka and Batum in the offseason, those are older guys. And Ibaka has been playing well. I give him credit. And Batum, they both been playing well. But I don't know that's going to be enough to, help them. I don't see a big difference this year from last year. It doesn't make them better. I don't think. So, yeah, I just don't. And especially since you gave Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers, like your rival, I don't understand why you would let him go like that. But maybe Montrezl, he feels like he has a better chance winning against, on the Lakers. But by the way, was it a trade or was it just like a signing?
It was just a signing. I think the Clippers just didn't want to pay him, and Montrezl was like, "F this, I'm out. I'm going to the team that just won the championship, and they'll pay me."
Right. Yeah, I can't blame him for that.
Yeah, can't.
That's just Clippers just, not wanting to pay somebody that helped them a lot last year. But yeah, I'm concerned myself. But at the same time, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I still stand where I think if George Paul doesn't, it's just so funny. I have to see, for me to change, from George Paul to Paul George again, I have to see what he does in the playoffs. And he has to step up in order for the Clippers to get over that hump. They just have to. Especially since I think the West is more competitive than it was last year. So they have to step up 100%. And if they don't get like a top 3 seed, they're going to play a team like the Blazers, maybe the Nuggets, which is not easy teams to beat. So, especially in the first round. So, I don't know. I'm a little concerned. But, we're halfway through the season. We'll see how they respond the second half of the season. And we'll see what they can do in the playoffs. It can't just be Kawhi in the playoffs. It has to be especially George Paul, but the rest of the team too. Yeah. To step up.
And we'll see if they make any moves at the trade deadline. Hopefully you got some sort of plan after letting Montrezl go, that you can hopefully pick someone up this trade deadline to help your team out.
Right.
And also, and I like your points, D, and I just want to reiterate that thing you said about like the psychological impact of losing to the Nuggets last year. The Clippers were, people forget, Clippers were basically the title favorites last year, up there with the Lakers.
Yeah.
So, Kawhi experienced that loss, like, okay, what happened here? And the year before that, he won a championship. So, they went from not heavy favorite, but favorites last year, losing to the Denver Nuggets, an underdog. And now on top of that, Kawhi this year, he's like, okay, I feel like I'm carrying this team. Every time I get subbed out of the game, we lose the lead. Every time I get subbed out, all our defense takes a hit. It's like I think he's starting to feel that pressure. And don't look now, he is a free agent this summer, or whenever the season ends. Everything's all fucked up now, but so it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward for sure.
And then real quick, you gotta think too, like if the Clippers fall again and don't win a championship, does Kawhi just he's gone? I think he's gone.
I hope so. As a Mavs fan, I hope so.
Come straight to the Mavs. Play with Luka.
He ain't coming to the Mavs though, but yeah.
So what do you guys think? Where do you think he's going to end up? Or actually, before that, where do you guys think the Clippers are going to end up? at the end of the
Like
season.
seeding or?
Just end of the season. Win championship,
Oh, okay.
Western Conference Finals.
It's hard to say, man. I feel like the West
Yeah.
it's going to be hard to say. It's going to be so dependent on the matchups and the seedings. So, I mean, just looking at the talent the Clippers have, I could see them getting to the Western Conference Finals. But anything can happen in the West this year. It's like we pretty much have to wait till we see the matchups.
Yeah, I agree with Nicola. Exactly. It's just too hard to tell. The West is just more competitive this year, and any team can knock the Clippers. To be honest,
Mhm.
Like, maybe not teams like the Spurs or maybe Mavericks. Who knows? If Porzingis turns into God, you know.
But I mean, do you guys want to make a guess at least, like where they can end up? I'll start. Right. I think that this is a possible second or first round exit.
I'm
Wow.
not mad at that.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking second round.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you got to think about just the Clippers in the history of their team. Like, this is a disorganized franchise from day one. Clippers were the laughingstock when we were kids. With Corey Maggette and
Catino Mobley.
Catino Mobley, Darius Miles. I mean, that's the same organization. Obviously, when Chris Paul and everybody showed up, Lob City, we think they're going to be this completely different thing, but that turns out to not be true. So then now, it's 2020, 2019 when this team finally comes together. And again, we haven't seen much. They were a second round exit last year, like D, you mentioned, to the Nuggets. I don't know. I think they're worse this year, personally, than they were last year.
You can
As,
say that.
as you guys mentioned with Montrez, again, it's on George Paul, but I don't have much trust in George. So
Yeah, if he steps up and averages, 24, 25 points in the playoffs, I think Clippers can have a good chance to beat anybody.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so it's really up to him and the role players, to just step up. That's really what it is.
And I'm noticing, now that I just think about it, there's like a common theme. The reason why things are so up in the air right now, these all-stars, these superstars that are the second option on their team, a lot of them, it's like, the question is, will they be healthy? Are they going to perform this year? For example, you look at the Lakers with AD. When are you coming back? Are you going to be fresh for the playoffs? Are you going to be ready to go for the playoffs? That's a huge question. For the Mavericks, like D said, are we going to see Porzingis or are we going to see Porzingis? He needs to step up his play for the Mavericks to go anywhere. We all know that. George Paul. Almost let that one go.
Slipped up.
George Paul. How will you perform? Are you going to be breaking off the side of the backboard again, or are you going to perform? It's really going to come down to these second superstars, I think, and a lot of that stuff's up in the air.
I agree.
So we will wait and see what the Clippers do. But just to, like we mentioned today is St. Patrick's Day, and that's green. So we're going to go to something else green in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Milwaukee Bucks just recently acquired PJ Tucker. This could be a big deal. Personally, I don't think so. But
I'm sorry, what was the full trade exactly? What was the trade exactly like?
I can check it out.
I know it's like some picks.
I don't think there was anything else, like moving parts.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, as Nicola checks, just to finish off, so the Bucks got PJ Tucker, and D, what do you think? Do you think this affects the Bucks? Does this help their title run? Does this how?
Yeah, how effective will PJ Tucker
How effective
be?
is PJ Tucker?
Right,
gonna be for the
how
Bucks?
much can he help the Bucks? Right, championship run. I like PJ Tucker. I like him as a player. I think he's just one of those players that, he does his job. You know, he knows what he can do, what he can't do. He doesn't overdo it. You know, not gonna talk about that Shaq in the Fool moment he had where that inbound the ball to him. He just let the ball he didn't even touch the ball. He let the opponent grab it and they scored. I don't know what he was thinking at that moment, but we're not gonna talk about that. But I don't want to see that PJ Tucker on the bus. But if we see the PJ Tucker that the Rockets had with Chris Paul and they almost beat the Warriors in Game 7, then I could see him helping a little bit. I don't know. I mean, PJ Tucker, he can shoot threes, right? He can make them, right? He has the defense. He's scrappy, gets some rebounds. That can always help. So
basically, Greg from Thomas Farm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Inside joke. Joke. Somebody we know.
Somebody we know personally.
Somebody we know personally.
Yeah. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's a huge difference. Oh, watch out for the Bucks, PJ Tucker. I'm not really going to say that.
I don't think anyone's saying that. I hope not.
Exactly. I hope not. Maybe Bucks fans, but calm down, guys. I hope not. But I mean, it's kind of, I feel the same way maybe about the Blake Griffin situation with the Nets. It can't really hurt the Bucks. It can't hurt them. It can only help. Defensive side, it can help. Like the scrappiness, the hustle, it can definitely help. So I'm not sure what the full trade was, but I'm pretty sure they didn't give up too much.
I can say it real quick.
PJ Tucker.
So the Bucks traded away DJ Augustine and DJ Wilson. They said we don't need no DJs on this team.
Screw the DJs, man. Y'all not helping.
they said F the remix. Anyway, and to the Rockets and then the Bucks got Tucker and Rodion's Kurix. No idea what that is.
Okay. Is that a watch?
Right. A jewelry brand or something?
Yeah, they got a player and a watch.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take the watch. Watch won't let you down.
Shit.
Won't tell you the wrong time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it looks like the bust. I don't know. I mean, DJ Augustine, did they really use him? Not like that. They did acquire Drew Holiday, so it's they're not really using DJ Augustine. So I don't think the Bucks lost much to get PJ Tucker.
Right.
So I think it's good for the Bucks. I mean, why not? You never know. It can help them. But I don't think it's a huge difference. Him being on the Bucks.
Nicola?
I really like this trade, actually, and I think it will make a difference. He's obviously not it's not going to be like a star player impact, of course not. But I mean, like Dee just said, they didn't give up anything really to get him, and I noticed the Bucks they're trying to get a lot of defenders on their team, and for a good reason. They have the Nets with their, possibly greatest offense ever, coming this playoffs. So they see that. They're like, we're going to need anyone that can defend. Just, you can even stick PJ Tucker on KD. And it just fits with the team. I like the fact that they'll be able to move Giannis to the 5 and PJ Tucker to the 4.
Good point.
They're not going to give up any defense doing that. They're not going to give up any like speed, like have like a slow player on the outside that teams can take advantage of when they're switching on pick and rolls. You won't be able to do that. And on top of that, he can still hit his shot. So you're not sacrificing anything, and you're bolstering your defense, and you're going to need it against the Nets. You're going to need all you can to defend those players over there. So I really like this trade. And on top of all that, he's a veteran presence that's going to help this team. So I'm definitely a big plus for the Bucks. They made a good move here.
That's a good point, Nicola. I agree with that.
So, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't have an opinion on this. I think it's PJ Tucker.
It's just whatever to you.
But
It's PJ Tucker.
I do like what Nicole was saying. Like,
Yeah, he has some
he
good
does bring
points.
defense. He does.
I think it's a really good fit for the Bucks. I just thought about
Yeah.
that. It's like
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, he's like I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. To be honest, outside of that Shaq D, like you said, the Shaq in the Fool moment, he doesn't really get too much spotlight. But he does a lot of things right, and that team being like when Nicole you were saying, that team's being so explosive, it does help having somebody that's kind of like a sort of a screwball player. Like why is he guarding KD? Like that's something. What was up with that? Like. Somehow it kind of worked. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of worked, but
Great
overall,
defender.
my opinion, overall it's not gonna work. But it helps.
Yeah, I
It
mean
helps. It's
KD's unguardable, so
Right.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
like,
It's just to slow him down. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not to
exactly.
stop him. It's just to slow him down.
it's like shaving off 6 points off his total.
Yeah.
Which, you never know. That could.
he
that
can hold
could-
to just 20. 20 points can help you win.
Yeah, you can hold him to
KD.
just 42 points. It's it could help.
Only
so.
42.
Yeah, only 42 points. So it can help. We'll see how that goes. But going back to the West, where it really matters.
Got that right.
The Spurs had a 20-point comeback win last night against the Bulls, with
I'm
notable
ashamed I'm not
absences.
wearing my Spurs hat. Damn,
I know, bruh.
I'm messing up.
You
Not
don't
really
got
Spurs.
green. You don't got
But
your
I got
Spurs
the gray.
hat
I got the gray.
for Brooklyn.
Oh, I mean, Brooklyn's more black. Blackish gray.
Nigga, you have a black hat and a gray.
Okay, but what's the
hoodie.
main focus? The sweatshirt, gray. Thank
You even have white
And
gray.
Spurs-
That's
Spurs are gray and
color
black.
anyway.
It's Spurs is exactly. Spurs are
Okay.
mainly gray. Brooklyn's mainly black. So I'm mainly gray. I'm still repping the Spurs. Thank you. And that's facts.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna give you that one.
And you must be
So-
a Spurs fan yourself, because you wearing gray yourself, my guy. So what's up?
I'm wearing gray.
What's that? It looks
This is
gray.
green, dude.
Oh, okay, well, you need to get a new camera or something. I don't know. It looks great. Maybe it's my camera.
This man looking through a potato.
Got my little laptop webcam. I'm going to upgrade y'all episode 20. I'm going to get a little upgrade.
He's getting his PC soon, so.
No, yeah.
Is that I'm putting on
Got the
air, D.
stimulus.
I'm putting
Got the
Stimmy.
stimmy. Let's go.
But so D, what do you think? What do you think about the Spurs comeback win? Obviously, this being your team,
Yes,
and also,
sir.
what do you think of DeMar DeRozan?
Ooh.
But keep in mind, he hasn't played for 5 games, and
Yeah, I'm gonna go off.
And to mention, just for something for you to mention, the trade deadline coming up too.
March
So,
25th. Yep.
mhm.
About 7 days. Yes, sir. Okay, so first part of the question, what do I think about the comeback with the Spurs? I think, I'm not going to say it was impressive. It's the Bulls. Chicago Bulls. I mean, we should be beating the Bulls. If we want to be a playoff contender team, we should beat the easy teams. Even without DeRozan, we should be beating them. But I am happy, of course. We came back and got the dub. Of course, I'm happy. So, the Bulls are just a team. They just like whatever. They just, they're kind of tanking. They know they suck. It's like, it's the Bulls, But at the same time, whenever my team wins, no matter what team it is, because every night can be any given night, any team can lose.
yeah.
I'm happy my team won. We got to keep winning, of course, to stay in the playoffs. So, of course, every win, I'll take it. I'm happy. So, I think, and the Spurs winning without DeRozan, that's always a good sign. Always a good sign. I love Lonnie Walker stepping up from last year, beasting. You already know how I feel about DeJounte Murray. Oh, man. I'm like, real quick, I got to give my props to this dude, man. I mean, seriously, he's so good. He should have his own topic. This man improved so, as a Spurs fan, I'm so happy for him. A guy that just could not shoot at all, like a Ben Simmons type. But guess what? He's not just a body no more. He actually gets buckets, and he plays defense. Ben Simmons, no offense to you, my guy, take notes. You know how we do every single episode. I have to mention you until you start shooting threes. I saw you make a three.
But he did hit a three.
He did hit a three.
did.
He's listening. went by three. Went by three podcasts, maybe. But he actually shot. Doesn't it feel good, Ben Simmons? Doesn't it feel good to make a three? Like, dang, we up by three now. I made a three. It's not that hard to make a three. It's really not. I used to think the NBA three was so far. Like me, Nicole and Frau, and Barricade and stuff. We went to the courtside games, Wizards games, and we shot on the court. And we're like, dude, this 3-point line is normal. It's not. I used to think it was so far back, but it's easily makeable. But let me go off track. I get my feelings, But back to the Spurs. I'm happy for the Spurs, man. Happy for the Spurs. We got to keep going. Greg Popovich, great coach, coaching these young guys very well. So I think we're gonna have our ups and downs. But I think we're much better than we was last year, 100%. So I'm happy. We beat a bad team without DeRozan. That's a good sign. And to the second part of the question, do I believe DeRozan? What happens to DeRozan? Will he get traded? Him being out, now he missed maybe his fifth game. First, before I started DeRozan, serious thing. His dad passed away a couple weeks ago. So I want to give my condolences to his family, and I hope prayers up to him. And I hope they recover fast and
R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace. And I hope everything, all blessings their way. So, I want DeRozan to take as much time as he wants, because I know something like that is not easy to deal with. So, my prayers up to him. But as far as me, so my voice cracked. Oh my God! As far as me thinking, will he get traded or not? At first, I didn't think he would because I'm pretty sure. I have to double check. I'm not a real Spurs fan, of course, but I have to double check. I believe he signed a new deal. I want to double check, but
I can check.
I believe he signed a new deal. Yeah, can you check for me, Nicola? Thank you. I believe he signed a new deal with the Spurs. But either way, I felt like he was really connected with the Spurs, and he felt like he was at home with the Spurs. But I would not be surprised at all if he got traded. I mean, the way I feel about DeRozan, I think he's improving as like a team player each year. Everybody knows he can score. But the difference now is he's starting to assist the ball. He's starting to actually look for teammates and not just be like a James Harden 2.0, as he was in the Raptors. He's starting to learn how to play team basketball, which I love to see, which is something that's always been in the Spurs environment, ever since the Tim Duncan days, Ginobili. Who cares about stats? It's about, I don't care if you score 2 points. If you're making the right pass, you're making the right play, you're going to team, welcome to the team. So I like how DeRozan is developing as a more of a team player, but I would not be mad if he gets traded. It depends what we get, though. I don't know exactly what would be a good trade for him, but I would say if we can get two players, like decent players, that can scrap and do their part, I think that can help the Spurs overall. Spurs have a lot of young players. I think we're in rebuilding mode. We know we're not going to, even though we're in the playoffs as of right now, and even if we make it, we pretty much have no shot winning the championship. We all know that. So Spurs are just in rebuilding mode. I'm curious to see how long Greg Popovich coaches for the Spurs. I hope he, stays and rebuilds a new franchise. But at the same time, I wouldn't be mad if he retires. I mean, he did his part. He got 5 rings. So it's just a wait and see with the Spurs. But I think, LaMarcus also, I think he will be traded. I think DeMar, I wouldn't be mad if he gets traded. I think we just have to rebuild, man. I mean, DeMar's up there too. I'm not sure how old he is exactly.
He's 31.
31, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a little bit up there. He has a few more years left to produce. And with the West being so competitive, I don't see a point of what can DeMar really do for us in the future.
It's true.
Except.
So I think we should just focus on just rebuilding our team. Maybe trade for some young players. Maybe try to. I love Porter, Jakob Porter, but try to get another big man. We need another big man, especially if we trade LaMarcus Aldridge. So I like where the Spurs are at, and I wouldn't be mad if they trade DeMar. But I like DeMar as a player, and I wish him the best if he gets traded. But I wouldn't be. I get why Spurs wouldn't trade him because we're in rebuilding mode. As a Spurs fan, it's hard to say because I'm so used to Spurs just winning, being championship contenders with Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker, my favorite Spurs of all time. I'm so used to Spurs just winning, but I knew this day would come where, we have to rebuild. And I think this is the right time for us to just, we're in the playoffs, we're not going to really get a good lottery pick. I think we should focus on trading for younger players and players that's going to help us in the near future to produce and build around DeJounte Murray and maybe Keldon Johnson, players like that, Derek White, Jakob Porter. So, and I think Greg Popovich, he has the coaching skills to make any player relevant and produce for his team. So, as a Spurs fan, I'm not mad if DeMar gets traded. LaMarcus is traded. I think we just have to rebuild and prepare, get ready for, the next 5 years where maybe next 5 years we can be contenders depending on who we get. But I'm not mad about DeMar leaving. I love DeMar. I think he's been good for us. But he's not the type to get us over the hump as of right now. Mm-hmm. Too competitive in the West, and our team is not good enough to beat teams like Lakers, even Clippers, stuff like that. So that's my take on the Spurs. It's hard as a Spurs fan, but I accept us being where we're at the moment.
I respect that you're realistic.
Yeah.
I give you props for that. And just for the info, so DeMar, he didn't get extended. What he did, he exercised his player option. So now he's in the final year of his deal. So more than likely that if he doesn't get traded this year, he's probably gone.
He's going to leave. Anyway. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I see why Spurs want to trade him because he's going to leave anyway. Right.
So, yeah, the Spurs are just in a weird spot because everyone going into this year was expecting, this to be a rebuild year, and they're at the bottom, that they would be at the bottom of the standings. It's scary because I know now y'all are like sort of in the middle of the pack where you're not going to win a championship, but you're not going to get a high draft pick. And the Mavs were in that spot for a few years, so I know what's that like. And those years sucked. You had like nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's tricky because you do have Greg Popovich there. I think he's too proud of a coach to tank.
Oh, he would never tank. I agree.
He's
not that type.
He's always going to get the most out of his players. So It might be this situation where there's an entire just rebuild from the top to the bottom, from coach to the players, just building up young players. But y'all are in the playoffs potentially. So right. It's tricky. It's like they're going to have to make a decision point here soon. I mean, this year. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. DeRozan. First of all, before we start, I just want to reiterate what you said, D. Rest in peace to his father. That's I know he's definitely going through a hard time right now. But that doesn't exclude what I'm going to say. Because.
Yeah.
That's just what it is, right? I think I don't blame him as much as I blame the Spurs in this case. Obviously, first of all, I want to say that, I love and I respect the Spurs. I love Greg Popovich, but I'm so happy to see this. I'm so happy to see this. Like,
As a KG fan,
you know what I'm saying? As a KG fan for years, Tim Duncan's better than KG. It's like, bro, I was always, the argument was
true.
always,
But that could
It's
be another
not
topic.
it's not.
We'll
it's not
save
true.
it. That's a really
That
good
is a good
topic.
topic.
That's
That's
I'm
a
gonna
really
add
good
that.
topic.
and we could add
We'll
Dirk
save
to
it.
it too,
I
because
know.
Dirk is like the trifecta of that.
Underrated.
Of that whole
Yeah.
thing.
So Karl Malone too. So
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Let's
my
save
thing
that.
is my thing about the Spurs. I think, what Kawhi had to leave, right? There's no way they could have kept Kawhi, so he had to go. But the problem was thinking that you could do this with DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan didn't just get here; he's been here, and it's like the Spurs. I think they should have done a better job of building around him. Trying to get him other pieces, trying to do other things. Like I don't get why, because okay, I like DeJounte Murray. Oh, real quick, I like DeJounte Murray, but you got to either improve that position or you got to go in a different direction.
And real quick, I'm gonna let you keep going, but to answer your point about that, you gotta think about like the Spurs. We tried to get players, to help around DeMar, right? But it's not appealing to live in San Antonio, where
That's
you can
true.
live in LA, Miami, stuff like that.
That's true,
So
absolutely.
it's up to the players, where they want to go.
But you do have Greg Popovich.
right,
You have the culture of
right. Yeah,
of
but-
winning.
Yeah, and it's the point you made. At the same time, we never really had like an attractive team
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh yeah, I want to play on the Spurs. We can win championship, So, yeah. And I thought, with LaMarcus, when he still had it when we first got him, and then adding DeMar, I thought that would be enough. Like, okay, maybe we can make some noise. But yeah, I mean, for a while we just never really had a true point guard.
The problem is I think the Spurs put too much pressure or like too much emphasis on whoever their star player is. Like in this era, I'm not talking about the past Spurs. Like,
Right.
okay, like DeMar DeRozan's your star player. Okay, we're gonna make him the top scorer, the playmaker of the team. We're gonna do all this. The game's gonna run through him. LaMarcus Aldridge, he's the star player, the guy that is gonna be our guy. The game runs through him. It's like, what happened to the Tony Parker, Ginobili, Tim Duncan type of thing? Not necessarily those players, but that kind of filling up those kind of roles within the team, where you have the dedicated power forward, you have the scoring shooting guard, you have the playmaking point guard. It's like, to me, it feels like the Spurs didn't even attempt to do that. Like,
Technically-
well,
it's
technically, based on what you.
Oh, sorry guys. I'm sorry, it froze for a while, so I didn't hear what Frau said. During his,
okay,
point.
yeah, I was just saying, why didn't they attempt to mold the team like the past winning Spurs with the point
It's
guard, with the
hard.
shooting
Yeah.
guard?
It's hard. That's not
get
easy.
that,
Like
but-
Tony, like those players were different.
Yeah.
Like Tony Parker, you
Is
you
luck?
understand?
Was it luck then? Like, what was
No,
what was the
because
whole previous
because-
decade?
We drafted those players. Well, we didn't draft Tony Parker. He got.
Charlotte?
I think he was on
Or-
Charlotte.
No,
Yeah.
Charlotte, right?
I
Yeah.
believe, yeah. And we traded for him, but it's just hard to it's not easy finding those players like that. You gotta understand, Tony Parker, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like, he's a guy that game in and game out, he got buckets in the lane as a short point guard. Like, he was a good player. Manu, I think he's I miss Manu. He's the player I miss the most because he was a guy that did not care how many minutes he got. He didn't care about coming off the bench. He's the most selfless player I ever seen. Like, and he was so good at what he did. So good. Made big shots, big passes.
So clutch.
I mean, he created the Euro step. That James Harden, studied off of him, and he said, I'm going to do that because that's super effective. I mean, it's not a lot of players like Manu. And don't even get me started on Tim Duncan. I mean, this dude, Mr.
Tim Duncan, I'll give you. I
himself.
can give you Tim Duncan. Don't. Yeah,
This
of course.
dude was just a blessing from the sky. I mean, he didn't start playing basketball until he was in the 11th grade. This man was a swimmer. He didn't touch a basketball since high school. So the fact that we got, like, he's just, arguably the best power forward of all time. So those types of players, selfless players that did not care about stats at all and just did a job so well, it's not easy finding. And it's not easy finding those players that want to stay in San Antonio and want to help San Antonio win and want to take pay cuts and everything. So at the same time, like, I get what you're saying about why didn't the Spurs go for it, but at the same time, it's not easy at all. It's not, And I think the Spurs tried. They tried.
I think so too.
But
like you said, like you were going down like, oh, you want the dominant power forward, scoring shooting guard, and a playmaking point guard. I mean, they got 2 out of those 3 when they picked up Lamarcus. Lamarcus was not a scrub in Portland. Like, he was still dominant.
Not
at all.
Of course not.
So they did the best they could, and they ended up trading for DeMar. So they were trying. It's just you can't replace those players. You just can't.
It's too rare. It's too tough. Like, those are Hall of Famers, all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Of course. It's more of like, I feel like, and maybe this is just because this forced their hand, but I just feel like the Spurs run those players to the ground. Like, LaMarcus was the run into the ground. Like, DeMar is currently getting. Not, I mean, he's probably not going to get now because he's going to leave. But, like, I don't know, man.
Run to the ground, but you got to think about it at the time.
Isn't Greg Popovich like can he find these international gems? I mean, if we look at some of the best players that have come out in recent drafts, there have been studs in the late draft picks, right? And this goes to another topic, which, our producer B's not here, but this is a topic that we're definitely going to get into. Is Phil Jackson versus Greg Popovich?
I'm adding that one.
We can get to that.
That's a whole
we can
topic.
Get down deep into that one.
And this is kind of because I in the recent years I've tended to go toward. We're not going to get into it right now. I just wanted to say
please don't, because I would go off and please don't, because I have my whole opinion on this. And I want to save it for the next podcast. Please do not do it because I have
just one point. One point I got to say.
Go ahead.
I was always giving it to Greg, but these last couple years, dog,
save it for the podcast, Frau. Oh,
these
my
last
God.
couple years,
save it for the Frau. Just stop it right now because I'm going to unleash right now on this podcast. I don't want to do it because it's not one of our topics. But please, let's just wait. I know what you're about to say. Let's just wait, because you're so wrong. I'm getting very offensive. You're so wrong. I know what you're going to say, but I'm not even going to say my point because I'm going to wait. But you, oh my, you're just a KG hater, and I get it. I mean, not a KG hater. You're a Tim Duncan hater because you're a KG fan, and I get it.
I like Tim Duncan. Don't get me wrong.
I know you do, but you're blown. Cause your man got 5 rings, but I'm not going to go down that line. I'm gonna wait
KG would have had
podcast.
8 if he was on the Spurs, but
that's a whole. That speaks to Greg Popovich. How? Okay.
Okay, all right. We're out.
Okay.
We're out.
Woo! Don't try me, boy.
I'm
getting hot.
Expect some fireworks next episode, man.
I cannot wait.
Yo, if we do an episode of all our like backup topics, that episode is gonna be lit. That episode's gonna go
very
crazy.
Just a quick preview. We're gonna have just from this podcast alone, we're gonna have the best power forward of all time, or maybe like a ranking, which is
you know what's crazy? The crazy thing about it would go literally each of us would argue the other person, like literally.
Yeah.
That is.
Do we all
crazy.
have jerseys?
Yeah. Oh, I
I might have to buy one. I'm not gonna. I don't have a Tim Duncan jersey.
No. You know what? Real talk. We're gonna do that.
We should.
Cool. You still got a Dirk jersey, right?
Of course, I have like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Okay, bet.
That's
my
crazy
KG jerseys are coming apart, but I'll get a new one. I don't give a fuck.
Stimmy.
Stimmy. All right. So, any other topics? I think we're done.
I think we're about done, guys. I think we're about done.
We're about at the 45-minute mark.
That is beautiful.
That is perfect. All right, guys. This has been another episode of the Win by 2 podcast.
Episode 6.
Episode 6,
Good
not
shit,
episode
y'all.
4. It's episode 6.
Episode 4. The third episode of episode 4.
Episode 4, part 3.
Part 3.
If y'all saw on YouTube, we took it. We put it as episode 4, but this is episode 6. So, Win by 2 podcast, episode 6. We're out. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Deuce.
All right.
Nice.